Buy my novel, Escape from the Village, from major booksellers online. Go to escapevillage.com. Subscribe to my Substack. Go to fountainheadforum.substack.com. Thank you. Welcome to the party, pal. This is Fountainhead Forum 130. I have Lautaro Furundarena he is a professor of economics at the Facultad Derecho de Mar del Plata. That is the law school in Mar del Plata, which is in Argentina. And we are going to talk about Javier Milei in his recent debate, which was on Sunday with Sergio Massa. It was just the two of them. The election is on Sunday the 19th. If you're watching and you're an Argentinian citizen, we hope you'll get out and vote for Milei. So although this is an English-speaking podcast, so it's probably going to be listened to by a lot of people outside the country. How are you, Lautaro?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And you? How are you, Chris?
I'm pretty good. Yeah. So we had this debate on Sunday. It's an interesting format. They started off with a 2-minute intro. And one thing I noticed about this debate, Milei went without the glasses this time. He went with he wore the glasses in the previous debates, but any idea on why he decided to go without the glasses this time?
Yeah, well, that's a good question indeed. In this debate, he was without the glasses because he wasn't allowed to read any paper or essay. So the rules of this special debate was that it was not allowed to read anything. So that's the reason why he was without the glasses.
Okay, so he had nothing to read. He wasn't taking any notes, so that's cool. Yeah, and I love how he comes in. He's giving everybody the thumbs up. I think that's a good way to introduce yourself. Come on and just. It seemed like the crowd was pretty. And Massa started. He came out with using words like change. I noticed Massa came out in front of the lectern, which seemed like pretty good. Then Milei just says he'll end poverty, create jobs, and he mentioned Victoria Villarruel's expertise. I noticed that was interesting. Massa said nothing about his VP, so I wonder why Massa didn't say anything about Augustin Rossi. But that
was a good debate. Also, the debate of Victoria Villarruel against Agustin Rossi for me was amazing. It was a complete win of Victoria Villarruel because I think from my point of view that Victoria Villarruel smashed Agustin Rossi because she was superior in any way.
Yeah, maybe that's why. And then so they have this format too where they have 6 themes and they're allocated 12 minutes to cover each theme. And basically they can speak for 6 minutes each during that theme, and it's basically just as long as they're speaking. So you could start and use up all your 6 minutes, or you can use 2 minutes, and then the other guy uses 30 seconds, but they keep track of it on the screen, so everybody only gets 6 minutes. Milei started off and said the country was great 100 years ago. He takes on the problems and he immediately takes on this attitude that needs are rights, which I think is really key to his. I mean, I don't hear anybody in America talking like that. And I think he's really putting out the moral case out there. And then he talks about the caste and the debts being a burden on the future, talks about, printing bills. And
yeah, well, an important fact over here is that Milei is the first candidate to president, the first Argentina who is running for president, who is a libertarian. The first one. Never in the history of Argentina we have someone who was running for the election, the president, who has a libertarian economic thought. So this could be a huge change. I think not only for the history of Argentina, but also more important for the history of all Latin America, because thanks to the movement of Javier Milei, a lot of people in Bolivia or in Peru, in Chile, are trying to achieve libertarian movements in their own countries. So this could be a huge election, not only for Argentina, but more important also for the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely could be. After that also, uh, yeah, it could be important. And then he just accuses Massa of generating misery. He called Massa a liar a lot of times. I don't think Massa likes Milei, but Milei absolutely positively hates Massa. I don't think if Massa was in a burning building, I don't think Milei would just roast marshmallows. I think he hates Massa that much. And
Well, Javier Milei said that Massa is a liar, but because Massa, indeed, here in Argentina, we called Massa like a pancake. You know why?
why?
Because you know that the pan to cook a pancake you have to flip the well in the kitchen. Massa switched the politician party many times, and he said a few years ago that he will never be with Christina Kirchner making team again. And right now he's in the same political party than her. So Massa, indeed, he changed the politician party a lot. That's why Javier Milei said that to him.
Yeah, I get the pancake thing. That's very interesting. He keeps changing all the time. Yeah, flipping, and flipping over all the time. I heard he actually used to be much more libertarian.
Well, I mean, he claimed that the ideas of Javier Milei were pretty good, but that was a few years ago. But a few years ago, he was running for the election to be president, but with the other political party, his own political party, whose name is Frente Renovador. But at that moment, their ideas about the industry and the commerce are like pretty about trying to improve the protectionist of the country, trying to protect the local industry. So he wasn't pretty liberal indeed.
What did you say the name of Massa's party was?
Frente Renovador.
Frente de Nord.
Renovador or
Renovador.
As I told you before, this political party was born in 2013.
Yeah, it's I love how Milei starts off calls inflation a cancer and just goes off on. He really. I mean, I think Milei understands. He just has to, say this is what you're. He's basically just trying to say if you vote for Massa, you're going to get more of the same. Talks about stealing via inflation. Milei even said, we've taken 13 zeros off the currency, which because it's gotten so useless. Yeah. Massa was part of the Front for Victory. Yeah.
And the
Frente para la Victoria. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frente para la Victoria.
Yeah, that was a former political party of the Christina Kirchner.
Yes, of course, Kirchner. Yeah, that Kirchnerism, which is dying a well-deserved death, it seems. Not really a Spanish name, but so very interesting. So yeah, and then Milei even compares him to Pinocchio. I wasn't sure, and then they also mentioned the AFJP, which is the Administradoras de Fondos de Jubilaciones y Pensiones, which is just the retirement fund, basically the retirement funds for. So that's something we often hear. So I'm curious to why they started off with the economy, because that seems like they were almost trying to start off with what really should be Milei's strongest part. I don't know if I wonder what their methodology of picking the order on these subjects were. why they started off with that.
I mean, first of all, we need to understand a funny fact here, and that is that the actual Minister of Economy of the country is Sergio Massa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is running the whole country. So it's funny that a lot of Argentina are voting him because they are trying to vote, or they are voting the one who is guilty of the destruction of the country. So it's like, I mean, it's a funny fact if you think about that. And Javier Milei told him, Sergio Massa, this. I would say a few months ago, we have like almost 80% of annual inflation, and now we have almost 115% of annual inflation. We have 12% of inflation each month. So it's a complete disaster. Imagine that in Argentina, I don't know, if you imagine that you go to the gym and you pay your monthly subscription, all right, the next month the price will be another one. Or if you want to the grocery store or the market shop and you want to buy something, I don't know, a Diet Coke, the next month the price will be another one. And not only the next month, also the next week. So the disaster of our economy is a complete disaster indeed. And right now we have the chance to start making a real change in Argentina. But well, we'll see what happens this Sunday.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, so then we went off to the next theme, and we went to foreign relations, and this time Massa started. He mentioned China, Brazil, the Pope, and claims Milei wants to end relations with the Vatican, which I really don't buy. And then I don't know why they brought up the Malvinas. I have no idea. I mean, you weren't even alive when that war happened. Do 20-something Argentines even care at all about the Islas Malvinas, or as English speakers call them, the Falkland Islands?
Well, here we have to split your idea in two parts. The first one is where Javier Milei said that he would like to break up relations with China and Brazil. And the next topic is about Malvinas. Let's start with the one about Brazil and China. Why Javier Milei would like to break up relations with Brazil and China? Well, because in China we have a communist government. And in Brazil, with Lula da Silva, also we have some like a socialist government. That's the reason why Javier Milei would like to break up relations with those countries. But from my point of view, that is a complete disaster because most of the exportations of Argentina are going to Brazil and China. So break up relations with Brazil and China is like, this will be decrease a lot the income of the commerce in Argentina. I mean, the Communist Party of China is a pretty good market for Argentina because we sold China a lot of meal, we sold China a lot of wheat, oil. We sold a lot of things to China, and also with Brazil. So from my point of view, it's a bad idea to break up relations with those countries only for the type of government. But also, Javier Milei claimed that he would like to destroy the Mercosur. Mercosur is like NAFTA that you have in the United States. You know.
Yeah.
I mean that you have with Canada and with Mexico. Special free trade agreement. Well, we have in Argentina, but it's in Mercosur. Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay are members of the Mercosur. Javier Milei claimed that it would be a good idea that Argentina go out from the Mercosur, because without the Mercosur, Argentina will be able to import a lot of goods from, I don't know, China, United States, without to pay the tax that we have to pay only to because we are members of the Mercosur. We have like a special tax all the members of the Mercosur to the imports of some goods and some services. So that's why Javier Milei stated that it would be a good idea to go out from the Mercosur. And another thing that you told a few seconds ago was the topic of the Falkland of the Malvinas. And here's one. Here is very important because I would say that perhaps for the 80% of the Argentinian people, the Malvinas are so important. Perhaps more than 80% of Argentina. The Malvinas War was a great pain for all the Argentinian people. Here's why. Well, in a moment of the debate, Javier Milei claimed that Margaret Thatcher was a good politician, and after that, all the social medias in Argentina explode because, as you know, Margaret Thatcher gave the order to attack the General Belgrano ships during the Malvinas War. And for that reason, more than 300 Argentinians died. That's why a lot of Argentina are very angry with the Margaret Thatcher and with the English. So for the Argentinian people, the Malvinas is it's a topic that concerns a lot of Argentinian indeed. So when Sergio Massa said something like, "You are not able, or you shouldn't supposed to say that Margaret Thatcher was a good politician," a lot of Argentina support the idea of Sergio Massa because, well, as I told you before, Margaret Thatcher gave the order to attack the General Belgrano ship during the wars. Well, also, I don't know, the last year Argentina won the soccer World Cup, and we have like a song when we say something like, let me remember the song. Something about the boys of Argentina that we shouldn't forget them. So the Malvinas topic is a really big concern to almost, as I told you before, 80 or 90% of all the Argentinians. And indeed, I would say that probably the half of the population of Argentina hate all the English only for that reason. And perhaps also the half of the Argentinian hates to the Americans because, well, during the Malvinas War or the Falkland War, the United States helped UK during that conflict.
So that still is on a lot of people's minds there. Of course, if Milei expresses admiration for Thatcher, it's more for her domestic policies, which actually did lead to a lot of privatization in England. Do the voters realize that, or do they just hate any idea because it's Margaret Thatcher's?
Yeah, they hate an idea because it's Margaret Thatcher. I would like to show you one thing. You see the map that I have behind me?
Yes.
Well, as you can see over here, I have Argentina, and here are the Falkland. The Falkland in the map are bigger than UK. that is over here.
That's and they're clearly not bigger. I mean,
No, of course not.
I've got a radical idea here. Let's just let the Penguins vote on it. If the Penguins vote to be with the UK, they can go with the UK. If they want to be with Argentina, they can go with Argentina. Since I don't know, because realistically, does anybody really want to live there? I mean, Britain's only there because it's a naval outpost. I mean, if the military moved out of there, no Brits would be there.
Yeah, that's true. But the Malvinas is interesting because if you have to, the GDP per capita of the Malvinas is one of the highest in all America, and I say in the whole country, the GDP per capita of the Malvinas. Because the Malvinas has only I would say a few men and women living over there, and also because the resources of the island. They have oil. They have a lot of fish. They have many resources. So it's it's in the middle of nowhere, but the Iceland has resource.
Yeah, it's definitely something you can do. I suppose the fishing is good. So we got onto that, and so that and Milei mentioned that his that Victoria's father fought in the war, and and then Massa asks about China and Brazil, and asks why Milei called them communists, which of course they kind of are. I mean, it sounds like to me Milei just wants to let people make their own decisions. I don't think he wants to cut off China and Brazil, and cutting off Brazil. I mean, that would be nuts. You can't cut off two large countries like that as your trading partners, especially when Brazil is so close.
Yeah, as you told me before, Brazil is one of our biggest partners.
Oh yeah.
So I'm agree that Lula da Silva could be a socialist and a corrupt and a criminal, but we can't break up relations with Brazil only for the type of government. Indeed, as I mentioned before, it's like if the United States break up relations with Mexico only for the type of government of Mexico. I mean, it wouldn't be a good idea for the United States, and for Argentina, it wouldn't be neither a good idea to break up relations with Brazil only for the type of government.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't cut off Brazil just because because the government's going to change. I mean, just like it could change anywhere else. It's kind of ridiculous. So we went on that, and Milei just says interventions lead to corruption. Then we went on to the education and health track, and Milei said that health and education will continue to be public depending on the provinces, and he went for almost 2 minutes. Massa talked about what he would do, and Massa talked about his daughter being in college, and Milei then got back to saying this is the most thieving government in history.
Yeah, well, that's a funny fact because Massa took like more than 15 years to end up the college. Yeah. So imagine more than 15 years to finish the college. That's a lot of time. The program of Javier Milei tried to continue with the public universities, but we have a problem here about that we have a lot of foreign people that comes to Argentina only for studying because our college is free. So as I mentioned before, I will move here. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of Peruvian people. We have people from Venezuela that come to Argentina to study, and after that they return to their mainland, to their own country. But they come to Argentina because the university is free, not only for the Argentinian people, also for the foreign people, for the immigrants. But Javier Milei is trying to do something to end with this. But for the Argentinian people, the college will still be free. So it's a program like he would like to apply a program like Denmark or Sweden has. And in this program, it's like a kind of vouchers when you can change those vouchers for, well, I think you know how this the education works in those countries. And he would like to do this. Well, it's a for a very it's a measure for the future because in meanwhile we have, well, Javier Milei had to win the election. So
Yeah.
and from my point of view, it's a very hard election. I'm not sure that Javier Milei is going to win.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to win either. I mean, we can hope for the best, but it's we've seen. I guess I've just watched too many libertarians lose. Although he's done so much better than any other libertarian has at this kind of level that it's definitely worth watching, and it's why we're doing. This is now the 23rd edition of the Javier Milei Show. So yeah, so then they go to the production and work track. The other thing too, I really find this interesting that they change moderators halfway in the debate. They never do that in American debates. I don't know what's up with that. It's like, be like changing announcers at a sporting event halfway through or something like that. But
yeah, I think it's because the moderator in the debates is a really important role. So it's a really important war, and it gives a lot of popularity, I would say, for some people, and well, some journalists would love to be over there, so that's why they switch moderators in the debate.
So we went on to the fourth track in this the production and work track. Massa started. Milei looked like he was taking notes, and Milei let him go for about 2 minutes and pointed out the private sector jobs have stayed the same since 2011. And Milei again takes on income distribution, social justice. That it's Argentina is producing less because of scandalous pressure, saying that the problem is the state.
Well, the social justice is a concept that, well, here in Argentina, some people love it and some people hate it. Well, you know it because you say it, but in Argentina we have a quote that say that let me think the translation. When the necessity borns, the right should be also born. So it's something like that, to say that if a necessity exists, you should have the right to fill up that necessity. That's not. I would say that's not very. That's not have any sense here, because imagine that you have, I don't know, the necessity to have free Wi-Fi. So the government will apply a rule or a law to give you or deliver you free Wi-Fi. That doesn't have any sense indeed. So that's why that quote that was invented from Eva Perón many years ago, from my point of view, is not. It doesn't have any sense.
Milei says that he went on for about 2 minutes, and then Massa brought up that women make 2% less, and accused Milei of plagiarism in his books. Milei, of course, calls him a liar, and he says, "You keep surpassing yourself." That was one time the audience laughed. I also noticed that Milei smiles a lot during his debates. If you notice that, sometimes he's smiling, sometimes he's laughing. What's your interpretation of that?
Yeah, I mean, why Milei is smiling or laughing during the debate? Because he tries to prove that all that Massa are saying is a lie. So that's why he smiles and he's laughing, because during that moment he is not allowed to speak. But that's the reason why he's laughing and smiling. And after that, he tried to say something like, "Oh no, that what you had said is a lie," and well, he delivered the emojis over there. But that's the reason why he smiled and laughed during the debate. From my point of view, indeed, the first part of the debate was a complete disaster for Milei, because Massa gives a lot of punch, I would say, to Milei, and Milei only he convert himself in something like Hulk, because he was very angry at the beginning of the debate, but after that Massa started to fall, and Milei gained more advantage during the debate. So
Yeah.
I think that the first part of the debate, Massa was the winner, but after that it was maybe a tie. But at the end of the day, I think that
Yeah.
Milei was the winner.
The thing I've noticed in all of his debates is I don't think Massa ever smiles. I've said the first time I saw him, he looked like he had a broomstick shoved up his ass. I mean, he looks like he's just really stiff and uptight. And this time, this was the one time he actually looked like he's a little more animated. He definitely doesn't look like he's having fun. Milei at least kind of looks like he's having a good time, and I think that helps with the audience if you at least look like you're enjoying yourself. It's
Yeah, let me doubt about that, because Massa is very serious, pretty serious in the debate, but that's because he tries to prove that this debate is a serious matter, that we are facing the future of the country in this debate, and well, in that debate. So that's the reason why Massa is very serious in all debate, and try to show, and Massa tries to show Milei like a claw, I would say.
like a
Uh,
what?
like a claw,
A clod?
a claw, yes.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was some slang term you're using in Spanish or something like that. Yeah, just
No, yeah,
a clod. Yes.
a claw. That's the reason why, well, Milei also a few years ago he gave or he act in television, and he was in the theater doing some special of actings. That's why Massa tries to show Milei, like I said before, like a claw. But indeed, Massa was very serious, because he tries to prove that the debate is a serious matter, and we are facing the future of the country over there.
Definitely looks like there's some. Yeah, but it's also could be something like the animal who's out in the middle of the road, and the car's coming at him. The animal can't get out of the road. He knows he's going to get hit. I mean, it's like Massa. It's like, it's coming, whether I want it or not. This is an interesting possibility, but could it happen that Massa wins the election and then he starts doing what Milei would have done anyway?
I don't think about it, because Milei tried to cut off the privilege of a lot of politicians,
Yeah.
and cut off the privilege of the syndicates.
Yeah.
And I think that Massa will not be able to do that, because, well, she's in the political party of Christina Kirchner. So I don't know. I don't think so. But I think that the only possible way that Argentina could achieve a really huge change is that the Javier Milei win the election. Also, with Javier Milei winning the election, would be hard to change a lot of things because we have the Congress. In the Congress, there's most of the Congress is from the party of Sergio Massa, more than half of the Congress. So, as I told you before, it will be hard to achieve some measures that he would like to do.
Sometimes it's interesting, how they said, "Oh, we're going to cut the income tax rate before the election." It's just one of those things. Then they brought up the issue of security, which there really wasn't anything eventful here. Milei said the country is a bloodbath and accused the state of doing that since 2001. Massa brought up that Bullrich is Milei's partner now, which I wouldn't say they're partners, but Bullrich apparently thinks Milei is better than Massa. So, and I believe Bregman also endorsed Milei. And what did Schiaretti do?
Well, at the beginning, we thought that Bregman would be supporting Milei, but well, that's not the case because Bregman is from the extreme left. So Bregman supports the communists and the socialists. So no, indeed, Bregman didn't support Milei, and she will never support Milei for that reason. But the matter with Patricia Bullrich is different because Milei. Well, here in Argentina, we heard something that Bullrich right now is supporting Milei because Milei promised Bullrich some charges in the government. Like, well, Milei promised Bullrich the Minister of Security, and also some people believe that Milei promised to Mauricio Macri, the former president of Argentina, the charge of the Secretary of State. So that could be, from my point of view, a good idea because if we have Mauricio Macri in the government, perhaps the experience that Javier Milei doesn't have would be delivered by Mauricio Macri.
And neither of those positions would really have much impact on economic policy either. I mean,
no, Javier Milei. He said that he will be the only thing that for him is very important is the destruction of the central bank and the conversion of our coin in the dollar, in the American dollar. So he tries to convert the Argentinian pesos into the American dollar and to destroy the central bank. Those measures are the only ones who are not in debate for him. Those measures should be implemented no matter the cost.
Yeah, it would work out. I mean, curiously enough, it'll be that'll be very interesting to see if they try to do anything to work against Milei once they're in there, though. But that is one way to. I don't know how much power those endorsements will have, and I don't know if some of the really diehard Milei people might say, "Oh, Milei's selling out." It's hard to say where that'll go, but it's certainly interesting because and Bullrich now being head of security, the former terrorist. I'm still kind of wrestling with which of the two between Massa and Bullrich is actually, or Massa and Bullrich is more repulsive. But if Bullrich had been second, do you think Massa would have endorsed Milei or not?
Now, if I have to be honest with you, I think that Massa is worse than Bullrich because I mean, Bullrich, he was a terrorist in some kind of way, but right now we don't have a good opposition in Argentina. I mean, in the political party. Milei and Bullrich was in the government with Mauricio Macri. So and she also proposed many measures to trying to reduce the narco traffic and the crimes in Argentina. And indeed, she has very good measures. But the only problem was that in the economic field, Bullrich was so weak. That's why I believe Milei won the last election against her. But if we mix the or the measures of Bullrich in the security field and the measures of Milei in the economic field, I think that we could achieve a great change in Argentina.
Yeah, I think this could be. I've said many times this is possibly the most important election in the history of the world, uh, and I don't think that's exaggerating. But yeah, it's a
And,
definitely
and
a.
let me ask
Yeah.
you why you think in the history of the war, because the history of the war is like a huge topic. Because from my point of view, I think like Argentina is not like a lighthouse for all the war. Perhaps the United States could be a lighthouse for the war, but not Argentina. So why do you think that could be one of the most important elections of all over the world?
Well, we've never had somebody this explicitly libertarian get elected to anything in a long time, and we've been going through a very bad period for about 150 years right now, and maybe this will turn it around. I mean, I've also compared this to the democratic capitalist version of the Bolshevik Revolution, and we certainly know what kind of damage that thing did. So, I
I,
mean, I tend to maybe put a lot of hope into things when I have hope, but there really aren't a whole lot of other reasons for hope right now. And maybe this could be a good that maybe this could send shockwaves throughout the rest of South America and maybe through the rest of the world.
I think like it's a very important election for not only for Argentina but also for all South America and for, as I told you before, for most part of America. Because if the ideas of Javier Milei succeed, we will see that many countries will try to copy those succeed measures and try to apply for their own countries. So I think that yeah, it's a very important election for all the world. But for me, we have another candidates that were libertarian, perhaps not 100%, but if we have the case of Ronald Reagan, he claimed a lot of measures that Millet is saying right now.
It's 10. But if I'm wrong, I haven't really lost all that much. But if I'm right, I bought into the stock early, so I look at it that way. It's the odds are good here. So then they went into the human rights and democratic coexistence. Massa talked about the right to a healthy environment. He went for almost 2 minutes, and Milei talked about strikes and failed democracies, and then he mentioned that democracies just do whatever they want, which something else too. And another ally of mine pointed out that Massa was coughing now and then, and apparently that was to try to disorient Milei a little bit, to try to create some noise, because Milei apparently complained about noise. So
Yeah, yeah, I saw that in internet, but let me doubt about that. Perhaps yeah, he was trying to get Milei angry, or perhaps he was sick, or he was with an illness. So I don't know that.
yeah, it's there's a lot of different theories you hear on this stuff. It's kind of interesting. But there's lots of ways you can play the game. It's Milei told Massa to look at the damage he's done, and that mentioned the damage to pensions, and Massa also brought up the pension system. Milei said that he's been censored. I don't know that's going on. And where was Milei? Yeah, Milei claims he's been censored. I don't know. Is that true or not?
Yeah, well, I don't know that.
Yeah. And then Milei mentioned and I was glad to hear Milei finished off with saying he was against all of this coronavirus nonsense and all these ridiculous policies that were implemented. And I've heard Argentina was absolutely horrible on that.
Yes, yeah, we have a lot of that.
Yeah, and there was a recent presidential debate in the USA, and nobody talked about it at all. They're just like they're trying to forget the whole thing. It's so then finally, after the 6 themes, we go into the where they both get a 2-minute finish off. Massa started and said, with his 2 minutes, he talked about his grandparents coming to Argentina, and then talked about women. And Milei brought up the decadent path of inflation over stability and the useless, corrupt, critical political class, and talked about the stats. Freer countries are richer, and Argentina has to be liberal. So
he claimed a lot of times that we used to be a rich country, a world country in the 19th century, but for the reason that the Peron applied in Argentina, we began to fall in the GDP indicator and in the world indicator of all the war. So Milei is trying to back over time to establish the measures that Argentina did in the 19th century, that the thanks to that measures, the measures were the Constitution of Alberti. It's one of the biggest constitutionalists that we have in Argentina. Indeed, the Constitution of Argentina is a libertarian constitution.
Yeah.
Because we claim the free of speech, the free of commerce, the free to trade with whatever who you want. The Constitution of Argentina is a libertarian constitution, and Milei tries to get back over time to establish those measures that sometimes allow Argentina to be a great country.
Yeah, it sounds that way. Yeah, it sounds like there was a lot of. Yeah, I've certainly heard that about Argentina. It sounds like it really started with, even probably started going downhill from before Peron. Is that true? When did it start going downhill? Because it was a very rich country at one point.
Yeah, I think that perhaps in Argentina we have a date that is 1930. We call the Década Perdida. For us, it was a moment, or it's the last decade. For us, that year was after the Wall Street problem, the Wall Street economic problem. After that, Argentina start to fall. Moreover, when Peron won the election in the 1946, Argentina established to fall again with more spread, I would say. So perhaps from my point of view, in 1946, Argentina started to fall with a lot of energy.
So, and toward the end, we want to, for anybody who might have been watching it, they were chanting at the end, "La casta tiene miedo," which is the caste has fear. So that was very interesting. Massa clapped, Milei didn't. Lautaro, I know you don't have much time left, but you being in your 20s, Milei is apparently doing very well with voters under 30. What do you think he's doing that other politicians haven't done? Is it because he was a musician and an athlete and he's got more of a cool factor going for him, or why is he being so successful when others have failed?
I think like Milei is so successful with the younger people because a lot of teenagers right now are thinking that if Massa win the election, they will leave Argentina.
Yeah,
For that reason, a lot of teenager and young people are supporting Javier Milei.
I guess the question I'd ask is, what kind of conversations have you had with mom and dad? What kind of conversations have you had with your grandparents, assuming they're still around?
Well, if I have to be honest, all my family supports Javier Milei because
That's great.
we all thought that both Sergio Massa is both to the actual minister of economy that is destroying the whole country. So I think that no one who has a brain, no one who have a brain should vote for Sergio Massa because, as you told before, right now he's the actual minister of the economy and he's destroying the country right now. So if we give more power to him, he will destroy the country more. So
and he's had and we've certainly seen videos of people waiting in line for gas, and it's now getting to the point that people are even buying stuff in Bolivia and taking it into Argentina. And I mean, if Bolivia is doing better than you are, that's a bad sign. Bolivia has traditionally been one of the poorest countries down in South America, but very, very interesting to see there, though. I mean, who are Massa's supporters? Is it just all the people who are getting some kind of check from the government, or what?
Yes, as you told, the support of Massa are people that are getting checks for the governments, and also people who thinks that the ideas of Javier Milei are a madness.
Do you think those kind of with Milei having such supporters among young voters, do you think those kind of conversations are going on right now? I mean, sometimes kids may underestimate the influence that they can have on mom and dad. And at a time like this, they might just say, well, I don't want my kid to leave. It's kind of like if you want ice cream and you keep badgering mom and dad, hey, mom and dad, get me ice cream. And they say, okay, we'll give you ice cream. I mean, sometimes that can work, although it doesn't always work, especially if you've got parents who are very strong willed. I mean, I got my dad to vote for some people that I didn't think he'd vote for, but let's hope it works out. And people are saying to me also that Milei has already won, that he's created a new conversations and kind of changed the way people talk about politics in Argentina. Do you think that's true or not?
No. I think that the election will be harder. Will be hard indeed. I think that as I told you before, for me right now, Sergio Massa will win the election for me. Yeah, but it's a very tough election.
But has he maybe changed the conversations and maybe had an impact that maybe things are going to go in a positive direction, even if he loses, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but in this election, every vote counts. So
yeah. Okay, well, that's good. Well, hopefully we'll have this go in a good direction. Now with so it's been great. Do you think he'll have any impact on the legal system there? I mean, you being a law professor.
Yeah, perhaps because Milei. Well, if Milei tries to destroy the central bank, he will have to change the constitution. So that will be an impact on the legal system of Argentina. And with a lot of measures that he's trying to apply, will be changed in the legal system, but especially perhaps in the constitution. The constitution that we already have is a constitution of 1994. So it's a pretty old constitution.
Okay, well, it's anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I will say that. Well, thanks, Chris, for the invitation.
Yeah,
For me, it's very important that the people from all over the world knows
yeah,
the reality of Argentina. And well, as you mentioned before, it's a very important election not only for Argentina, but moreover for all over the world, because perhaps if Javier Milei win the election, a lot of
yeah,
countries will try to apply the same libertarian measures in their own countries, and perhaps we will have a
yeah,
more free world and a world where the
yeah,
capitalists, the free of speech, and the free of trade are the main factors in the
yeah.
world.
It was also very interesting. I don't know if you saw that letter that a bunch of economists wrote and published, like Thomas Piketty and some other people. You can't elect Milei, and it's like, well, yeah, these are exactly the people we should ignore. So there's definitely some desperation out there. And incidentally, I have the great misfortune of having the exact same birthday as Thomas Piketty. So he was born on the same day as I was. So, but yeah, so where can we find you on the net out there? You have a website or anything, or
Yes, well, I have a LinkedIn that is well my name and my last name,
yeah,
but not a website. So well, sometimes I write things in my LinkedIn. So
okay, yeah,
yeah, my LinkedIn is my name and my last name.
yeah. Your name's not that common, so okay. Well,
Yeah,
please like
you
it.
will
Please like
remember.
the video. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Follow the channel. Give my video a thumbs up. Go buy my novel, Escape from the Village. Check out my Substack. I'm Chris Baker, and we're out.